Hello and welcome, everyone. I know things look a little bit different today because you guys are used to me being on myself, but since it has been extremely hot in here, I'm going to talk as I do our video. So just so you're aware, and because of the last 2 weeks when I've gone live, for some crazy reason, my camera has cut me off at about 15 minutes into my video. The first one 2 weeks ago, it cut me off at about 10 minutes, and then it cut me off at 15 last week. So I'm trying it going straight down on the camera or on my desk view to see if it does it again today. I'm fingers crossed. I'm hoping to God that we can get through this because I do have some beautiful cards to share with you guys tonight. I'm going to be using the Inspiring Imperfections. This is also the sweet collection called the what was it called? It is called the Kintsugi Inspiration Sweet collection. So it is beautiful, and when we get into this, I'm going to show you the amazing paper that we have to offer with this sweet collection as well, because you guys are going to fall in love with this. If you guys haven't already seen it, you're going to definitely want to take a look at it after I am done with this class. So what can I tell you guys today? I am Danny Garola, Pink Barn Stamper, coming to you from a nice and warm Tucson, Arizona. We do have kind of a overcasty day today. And my apologies, my AC is on in the barn. There's nothing I can do about that. I know it makes a horrendous humming sound, and there's really not much I can do about it. I can't sit out here without it on, especially on a day like today when it is 97 degrees out. I would melt in here. You know what I'm saying, right? So we are kind of just starting with our heat here in Tucson. We have had a couple of days of the warm, crazy weather, but we normally June is our hottest month. So you start knowing, like, going into May, the middle of May, towards the end of May, that's when we start seeing the triple digit weather. So that means that we are coming into our hot season, and that is no bueno. But we do tend to stay in the pool quite a bit during that time, because what else do you do when it's that hot? Hello, Wendy. Hello, Linda. Welcome. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to you as well. Hello, Frida. So I hope you guys did have a beautiful Mother's Day over the weekend. Ours was very low key. We stayed here, just here in the house. We do have plans coming up. My son is taking me and my mom out on Thursday. We're going to go have lunch and go to the cinemas or theater, whatever you want to call it, and go see a movie. We did have some disheartening news over the weekend. I'm not going to get into details because I'm not going to sit here and cry, but a very close friend of ours has passed, and it was my daughter's pretty much best friend. It was one of her Rett syndrome sisters, and so we are waiting for further news with that. So once we found that out, I think I found that out on, I think it was Saturday morning. It just kind of made the weekend kind of just a dull weekend. But, you know, with life is death, we know this, but it's pretty disheartening when it is a child. We all know that. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into our show today. This is Make It Monday for Monday the 12th. Again, I hope you guys all had a beautiful Mother's Day. Like I said, ours was very low key. We got my mom a it's a birdhouse. They had them at Costco, or a bird feeder. They had them at Costco where it has a camera in it. So it hooks to solar and she can watch the birds as they come in and eat. My mom's a huge bird person. And here in Tucson, Arizona, we've got cardinals, beautiful red birds that just love to come and eat out of the feeders. So I figured this way she can hook it up to her phone, her iPad, her computer, whatever she wants to hook it to, and watch the birds as they come and go and feed out of this feeder. And because it's solar, she doesn't have to try to put it close enough to the house where I mean, it has to be close enough to be on Wi-Fi, but as far as her being able to watch it from a distance, she can, because it can be plugged in out on, or it can be on solar and still generate and be out on the tree so the birds come and go. Also, she's huge with the hummingbirds, so I think she might actually set it by her hummingbird feeder because she fills those things quite a bit, and those really have the hummingbirds like crazy in there. Yeah, the bird feeders are really cool, right, Kay? Okay, so just to let you guys know, over the weekend, I have the wrong one sitting here. I guess I didn't print off the correct one. I forgot. So we have the June Full of Charm. It is a paper pumpkin kit for the month of June. It says, send your loved ones elevated cards with heartfelt sentiments. This is going to make 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs with 9 coordinating envelopes. This has decorative gold foil in it, pre-cut paper pieces with unique sentiment labels. Can you guys see my paper? Isn't that crazy how the sun has kind of turned my paper colors? And it is saying that it's going to coordinate with the Floral Charm Suite Collection. Now, that is not a suite collection that is currently available. That is a suite collection that is going to be coming out in the June, I believe it is the June online exclusives that will be coming out. So just so you're aware of that. We do have the die set that coordinates with those last 3 paper pumpkins. So if you have April, May, and currently subscribed to June's, then you might want to consider getting the Hugs a Bloom die set that goes with that. So as you can see, they've got the April, May, and June here that all coordinate with our paper pumpkins. Right now is a fabulous time to join my team. So if you have a wish list that is over around $165-ish in product, I'm sure you probably are well over that. But if you could narrow it down to around $165, right now you can get yourself $165 worth of product for only $99. That includes free shipping in there. You will have to pay your tax on wherever you live, but it's going to come with one of those free paper pumpkins. Now, we never know what paper pumpkin it is. It's just whatever they have a lot of quantity in stock. But you're going to get a free paper pumpkin. You're going to get a stack of catalogs that you can give to your family and friends. And that is the new annual catalog. So this is the one that runs from May to April of next year. So those you can share with your family and friends so they can then start purchasing from you. And there's just so much more being on my team. So if you want to take a look at what that's all about, you can go over to my blog, pinkbarnstamper.com, and I have a blog post all about this. So if you just scroll down, or you can click the promotions button, it's going to take you, you'll have to read until you get to the starter kit one. It should be either the second or third post there. And then also to let you guys know that this Wednesday, I will be putting out the supply list for our mystery stamping for the month of May. So watch over on the blog for that, and on or Facebook, the Pink Barn Stamper private group of mine. If you are not a part of that, I highly advise you to go over there. There's just a few questions that you have to ask for me to accept you into the group. And please read the rules so you know how all that works. Oh, good. You have one of those feeders and you love it. Good. She said yesterday I had her come over because we had given her her cards and all that kind of stuff so she could get her Mother's Day cards. And so she said immediately that she was going to go home while it was still light out and go plug those in. So hopefully she got bird food in it and she's got it hooked up. I haven't asked her today, but I'm sure she got it done. Okay, so here is the Kintsugi Inspirations Designer Series paper. This paper is gorgeous. It is a specialty designer series paper. As you can see, it does have that gold foiling incorporated on the one side of the paper. The other side has beautiful matte finish patterns to it. This does have the basic beige, the new in color cloud cover, Lost Lagoon, Misty Moonlight, Old Olive, Petal Pink, and gold incorporated with this. So gorgeous colors that all coordinate together. I would have never probably thought of putting Petal Pink together with the cloud cover, but I love seeing that together. It is actually very pretty together. Okay, so let me show you the other parts to this. So here is the die set. Here is the stamps, Inspiring Imperfections. We also have a embossing folder that if you buy the Sweet collection, you can get all this along with that beautiful paper. And here are these gorgeous, oh my gosh, these sparkle and shine like you would not believe. These are the shiniest looking gold. They call these flower accents. I love these. I actually will be adding these to my cards tonight. So there is this set. I really, really highly recommend this. There's so many things you can do with this. I have done a lot of embossing with it because not only the dry embossing with the embossing folder, but also the embossing with the heat set powder. So you've got, thanks for helping me through this difficult time. You inspire me. There's a beauty in history. I know you'll get through this and be strong for it, and I'm here for you. So very, very gorgeous sentiments in that. You've got the dies that coordinate and cut out both the vases. You've even got the little like the cracked look where you can see in the embossing folder. You've got some cracked die cuts, and I'm actually going to use that on the card tonight. Some floral arrangements, and then on this paper right here, so one of the papers, you have a beautiful, again with all that gold foiling, you've got your vases. So if you don't even want to stamp them, you can just use your die and cut out the big vase. You can use your small vase, cut out that one. And then this flower right here, you have a die right here that will cut out this beautiful flower. Again, I will demonstrate this for you tonight. You also have a cool little tag. It looks like a torn ended tag, and I will show you that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. Today we are starting our new kit for Make It Monday. So this kit will run from the 12th today through the 18th Sunday of May. So when you place an order with me of $35 or more, you will get this kit in the mail. It will include enough cardstock, the designer series paper, to create the 3 cards that I'm showing you today. Now, I will give you a heads up. I am using the textured notes dies. And so for the piece that is going to be on the card that I use for this, I will make sure I have that already cut out for you and include that in your kit, because I don't expect you guys to have all the things. But in order to make these cards exactly as I have intended, you will need this bundle. Now, the pieces that I also use for the embossed parts that I have on my card, I will emboss your pieces as well. Just in case you don't want to buy the full suite collection, I'll make sure I do that for you. So you'll pretty much get everything you need to create the cards besides the stamp and the dies, because Stampin' Up! Does not allow me to send you any stamped images. So you need to buy that yourself to make these the same. If not, you can always use something that you have in place of, you know, the vases that I'm going to be putting on the cards. All right, so let's get into our first cards. So as I said, you will get 3 envelopes with the cardstock that you need. If I use any ribbon, which I didn't put any ribbon on these cards this week, you would get the ribbon in there as well. I do not include any of the embellishments. Those are kind of difficult to mail. They get stuck on things, they slide off, and so I just don't even take the risk with that. Okay, so this first card, we are going to be using this new cloud cover in color for our cardstock. For this one, we need to have our card base cut at 7 3/4. So I'm going to bring this over and cut that because right now we have it at 8 1/2. And we're going to do some scoring for this. So this is 7 3/4 by 5 1/2. We are going to score at our 2 1/2 mark. 2 1/2. And 6 3/4. 6 3/4. So that's going to leave us a little 1-inch edge over here. Okay, so I'm going to fold both of those in on themselves. So you're going to see just this little open piece right over here, kind of towards the right. Let me grab my bone folder, and we're going to make sure we give that a very, very good crease here. All right, then we are going to bring in this gorgeous designer series paper. The reason why I chose this card is because this paper is so gorgeous on both sides. I want the recipient, whoever gets this card, to be able to see both sides of this paper because I don't want to hide this. And I like to give cards where you really kind of show off that gorgeous paper. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece and I'm going to lay it with that cloud cover up. So you're going to see this right here when the card is closed. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my multi-purpose green glue over here. Now this designer series paper is 4 by 5 1/4. So there is going to be a little bit of a gap on the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to make sure I put enough glue down that little 1-inch strip there that I make sure I'm going to cover this. And I'm just going to place this up against that score line, making sure everything looks like it is measured up there. And I'm just going to eyeball it here. Okay, and then I'm just going to push that piece down. So then when I open that card up, I'm going to see that beautiful designer series paper in there. Now I am going to need an inside to this, and I didn't cut myself an inside piece, goofy me. So let me cut my inside. So I have a piece of white that is going to be 4 by 5 1/4, and that's going to go in the inside of my card. So it's kind of a 3-parter on this little flap. See how neat that is? And you can do this with any 2-sided pattern paper. It works fabulous for that. Okay, I also have 2 pieces. This piece here is going to measure, I hid my ruler over here. This is 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got another little strip here that is 3/4 by 5 1/4. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to grab my joined together 3D embossing folder. And this is, you can grab this if you do the whole suite collection, or you can get this by itself. I'm going to put that right in there like so, and I'm going to go put this through my big embossing, Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And I am using that specialty plate because that is a 3D folder. Okay, so there are both of my pieces. And what we're going to do with this now, this piece is going to go right here, and this layer is going to go right here. Now, I want to let you guys know that you can dress this up in many ways. You can use your brayer, and you could take a white craft ink and go over that and make the top white. You could take the Misty Moonlight and maybe go over it. You can do lots with this. I just want you guys to be aware of that. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it simple because there's a lot of people who don't want to have to fuss with all that extra, because it is going to turn out gorgeous just the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere. Now, using the multi-purpose glue on a piece that has been embossed really gives it that opportunity to get down in those creases to really hold your embossed cardstock onto that card base. Okay, there's that piece. And then we have our little 3/4 inch piece. And I do have a ton of cards that if I have time tonight, I do want to share those. You guys have been amazing with sending me get well cards. I have a couple of Easter cards that I love sharing your guys' work. So as long as time permits, I will try to share the stack of cards that I have with you guys. Okay, so there is that. For this little inside piece, I think what I want to do is I want to grab, I was gonna say, grab a piece of designer series paper. I'm going to take now this is the same paper that I used for here, and I'm just going to do a little half inch strip, and I am going to cut that at 4. I've actually had so much fun with this paper that I just ordered another pack of it, because I know since this is going to be with us for a year, I'm going to go through a lot of this paper because it is stunning. And I love when we have coordinating dies that coordinate with the paper. It just kind of takes a lot of that ease off and really leaves it for our discretion of, you know, placing those on so many projects. Okay, that's gonna go in the inside of our card here. Now I am going to fold that over, make sure I get that in place so we're not seeing that. Okay, that's good. And then when we have that card closed, you don't see the white inside piece, you just see our beautiful paper here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a scrap of that paper, and I'm going to cut out this vase right here. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different because I thought of this earlier and I knew I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of white paper and I'm going to grab my, where did I put it? Where is, oh, there it is. Gosh, underneath all my papers over here. I need my white embossing powder. I'm also going to grab my old olive, and I also need a blending brush for this. I'm going to take this piece and using the large vase here, I'm going to stamp that on there, just like so. And I'm going to do that in Versamark. Let me shut my fan off over here so I don't blow my embossing powder all over the place. I am going to grab a grid paper here just to protect everything. Taking the vase and stamping it in Versamark. Okay, like so. Taking my white embossing powder, and I'm going to grab my tweezers here and make sure there's no Versamark on that so it's not sticky. I'm going to do white on white, as you can see there. Going to close that. Set that aside. I'm going to grab my heat tool. Not that I need any more heat in this barn, but we're going to get that. There we go. Okay, make sure that's all melty. Okay. Using Old Olive, I'm going to take my ink and my wonderful grid paper as kind of a scrap, and I'm just going to take this Old Olive and I am going to ink this up, making sure I get a beautiful coat of that ink. Okay, I need to grab a paper towel really quick. You can use any kind of tissue that you have. I'm just going to grab a paper towel. And what the paper towel is for is to just brighten up that white by getting that green ink off of the white embossed image. Okay, using that die, I'm also going to be grabbing, let's do this little vase down here as well. So I'm going to die cut that. Okay, so I'm going to do both of those. I think that would, yeah, that won't look too bad together. Hopefully, because I don't want too green. Oh, we could do the blue actually. I think the blue, let's do blue because it will contrast with that other one. Okay, so let me move these. I'm gonna cut that vase. So let's put this over that to keep that from wiggling around. Let me grab another piece of this tape here and let's adhere this one down. Okay, like so. Okay, let me go cut those out. Okay, while we still have this paper, I do want to cut out this flower down here as well. So there's our blue vase. the smaller one. Here is the larger vase that we have added that ink to. And then for this little one, actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave that piece alone. I'm going to grab that flower right here. We're going to cut that out. And I'm gonna move that up just a little bit because I also want to cut out, let's grab another little white piece here. I want to cut out this little torn edge banner here, or sentiment little piece. So let me do that. Well, I'm going to have to tape that banner down because that die keeps shifting. Oh, there we go. Now we've got it. All right, so let's take this little flower out of here. Well, let's get the tape off of here first. There's our flower. And here is our little sentiment banner here. All right, so there are all the little pieces that we need for that. So what we're going to do is bring our card in. And I am going to put just a dab, well, actually I'm gonna wait on that. I'm going to put my vase right here, and I'm going to adhere that down on the card. That one's going to be flat. I'm gonna put that right like so. Okay. Give that a couple of seconds to stick down there. On my little sentiment banner here, I am going to take You Inspire Me, right here. And I am going to do that. Let's do it in Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to put this right here. Okay. And I'm going to take my little flower and I'm just going to tuck it. Well, I'll wait on the flower. Let's go ahead and put our other vase on first. Let me grab some dimensionals here. So I'm popping up the smaller vase. And this is going to go just a little bit lower than that vase, like so. I'm gonna take my flower and I'm going to put a dimensional on that as well. Right up here towards the top. And I'm going to place that. Now before I push that all the way down, I'm going to see, actually I'm gonna wait on that. I'm going to put my sentiment on here, only applying glue on the side because we don't want it adhering to our part of our card that's going to open over here. So I'm just going to stick that right like that. Then I can take my flower, put another little small dimensional on there as well, because now that will sit over here. And I'm just going to take that and put it like so. I'm going to turn it where it kind of goes in towards that. There we go. Maybe I need to put a little bit more adhesive right towards the back of this. I didn't quite put enough on there. Okay, and there, my friends, is our first beautiful card using our, what was this called? Kintsugi, what is it? Kintsugi? Little sweet collection here. Now, we are not complete without adding a couple of these gorgeous gold. This is also called the Inspiring Imperfections if you're just looking for the bundle. Let's add some of these gorgeous gold, because why not? They are amazing. I'm going to put this one actually over here on this side, just like that. Stunning, right? Oh, I love that you can see both sides of that paper, because a lot of the time we have to cover one side when we add it to a card, right? So it's kind of nice to see both on there. So that is card number 1. We've done some embossing. We've cut out our cardstock, our designer series paper for our 2 little images here. So it's just a good way of using up our products and getting it all kind of put on one card. All right, so that's card number 1. We are going to move on to card number 2. So let me move this stuff out of the way since we're done with that. Okay, card number 2. Oh, see, there was my white scrap that I was looking for. Card number 2. We're going to grab out some pieces here, what we need. And this one is so stunning. I love this card. Not that I didn't love the first one, but I really like the colors on this one. So our card base is Misty Moonlight. This is 11 by 4 1/4. Scored at 5 1/2. Okay, there is our card base. Our next layer that we have, this is, why does my light look like it's so far away? This is our next piece, our next layer. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so the same exact size as our card base. We are going to be using our brayer for this, along with our Misty Moonlight ink. So it's going to be tone on tone. What I am going to do is I am going to move this stuff out of the way. And again, another reason why I brought in my grid paper here. And if you look at your embossing folder, one side says Stampin' Up and the other side doesn't. And normally that side is the side that's kind of raised up. I'm going to use the back side. So the side that says Stampin' Up over here, made in China, that's the side I'm going to use to do the brayering on. So I'm going to use my Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to get my brayer right in that ink pad and just kind of goop that up a bit. And then I'm going to take it and I'm just going to go down my embossing folder. Now you might be saying, oh my gosh, doesn't that ruin your embossing folder? It does not. All you have to simply do is take this embossing folder right to your sink and it will be good as new. Now I'm going to move this brayer out of the way so I don't wind up putting any papers on it. I'm going to take that 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 layer and I am just going to set that right down on there. and close that. Hold it without shifting it around. I'm now going to go take this over to my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. And again, it is a 3D folder, so I need to make sure that I use my specialty plate. And I'm going to run that through my machine. So here is what it's going to look like when I flip that open. So it has added that deep misty moonlight into the crevices of my embossed image. So this is the other side here where it has been impressed with those popping up. We actually kind of debossed it, I guess you would say, to push those that ink down in to the parts that have kind of gotten pressed in there. So I'm going to move this as well as my brayer. I'm going to actually move those over to the table over here so there's no accidents, because we all know how that works and happens. Then I'm going to take this. This is going to go right on the front of my card base. I also have a piece of that. This is the actual Kintsugi technique here on this one piece of paper, but I really like the pattern on this. This is where I'm going to be bringing in the textured notes. Now what I want to use is I'm going to use the, where is it? Which ones do I want? I'm going to use two of them. And I need to make sure I grab the right one. So I'm going to use this one. Oh, let me tell you the measurements of this. This paper is 3.5 by 5. I'm going to use my second from biggest on these dies, and then I'm going to grab the next one, and I'm just going to lay that in there, get it kind of centered in there. And this is going to cut out a frame for me, so I'm going to show you how this works here. I'm going to use 2 pieces to make sure that really stays in place. Okay, I'm going to die cut this out. Okay, let me pull this piece out of there. I'm going to now take this piece off of here as well. And we're going to take this piece. Okay, so now you have a piece that's already been kind of cut with that. You can flip this over and you've got a beautiful designer edge. You can set that aside for a later project. But the piece that I'm actually wanting is this frame right here. Now this framed piece, like I said, I will make sure I put this in your kit. Ooh, my chair is sliding all around. It's gonna slide out of my butt and I'm gonna fall. That would not be fun. All right, this is gonna go on the front of our card like so, but we still got some other pieces to get to here. I'm going to bring in my gold embossing powder, and I have a little strip of gold here. We're gonna do some die cutting with that. If I can see where I put my dies. I'm going to grab, here is that little cracked piece that I was saying. I'm going to just set that on there, and I'm gonna go die cut that. So you can see what that looks like. Now that piece is going to be a little dainty. Okay, here is our cut piece that just came out of that. It is very tiny and very kind of fragile looking. So there's that. I'm going to set that up there as well. Now what I need is a piece of cloud cover, little scrap, and I am going to just simply take my vase and I'm just going to die cut that, just like so. Okay, we're going to do something with that once that's done. And then I have a little piece of white. I'm going to take both of my little floral images here. And I'm going to lay those on there and I'm going to cut those as well. So let me turn back around here. A lot of moving today. Needed my exercise for the day. All right. Linda, I think you came in at the perfect time. You can always rewatch the beginning, but I think you're catching the important parts here of seeing the cards be made. Okay, so there is the vase. Okay, get that out of the way. And then here are some more tiny little flowers. Again, kind of on the delicate side. We're gonna get all the little pieces out of there. Okay, there's that. Then this other one kind of got stuck in my die. So get all of those little pieces out. Now we don't want to throw our dies away, so let's make sure we get those out of the way. Okay, there's that. And I'm just gonna run this over the garbage can. Get rid of all those little bits and pieces there. Okay, and I think we have pretty much everything cut that I need. Okay, so let's go ahead and start assembling this card. So again, I'm gonna come in here with my multi-purpose glue. Give this a good coating of glue to really adhere that down, get in those crevices. Okay, that's gonna go right on the front of my card here, like so. Okay, there's that card base. Now taking this little frame, I'm going to put just some of this glue around the edge, just lightly. And that's going to get placed right down there. Just like that. Okay. Now I need, where'd my stamps go? I'm going to use this little flower up here. And grab one of my books. And we need to bring back in, I'm going to use gold this time. I'm going to use my little vase. And I'm going to stamp this right there and right down here towards the bottom of the vase. Close that back up. Grab my spoon. And this is the gold. And I should have used my embossing buddy. And I didn't, so we're just going to grab a, oops, that's not the right brush here. Okay, that's good. Let me grab my, this thing got a little bit of Versamark on it, so it's just sticky. Grab the heat tool. Okay, that is heat set on there. All right, and then taking my little piece here, I'm just going to place this just kind of like so. I think I'm gonna go like that. Okay, so just let me grab a little bit of this glue here. Now you could use a silicone mat and a sponge to apply your glue to something little like this, but actually, you know what? The tip of this does a pretty good job of just keeping it inside. There's kind of like a little ridge in there that it kind of keeps it kind of tucked in there kind of nicely. So I'm just going to place that like so. Push that down a little bit. Let that adhere on there, and then all I have to do is cut off this little tiny bit here. Okay, so it almost looks like a cracked glass with that beautiful gold in there. And I love how that die cuts out just the tiniest of little crack of that gold. I think that's gorgeous. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to, I need a little piece of that white back, so we'll just use the same that we used for our last sentiment piece. Okay, there are both of our little white bits. Now on this, I'm going to just take some of my dimensionals and I'm going to pop that up. Wow! As I just throw my dimensionals on the floor. Good thing we've got a couple of sheets of them. Okay, we're gonna go like that. All right, this is gonna go right in the center here. Almost like it's framed artwork, right? All right, now using this, I'm going to grab my little minis and I'm gonna place these right in that bigger area so it's not being seen behind the flowers. And let's do one right here. Okay, I think that'll work. Come on. Okay. Now we're going to hide some of that. Let's go. We're gonna take this and we're gonna place this right over the top. Oops, hold on. I have my flower going the wrong way. We're gonna take this and we're going to place that just slightly over the top of that vase. Now I know you can see the dimensionals and I'm gonna show you, we're gonna hide those with our we're gonna hide those with our little, what are these called again? Flower accents. I don't have everything memorized yet. With a new catalog, we're kind of just learning things. So I'm still, bear with me, I'm still kind of learning. And then this little piece right here, I'm gonna take this and pop it right over here, like that. Okay, and then we are going to now, I'll come and stamp that, set that aside. I'm going to grab the I'm Here For You tiny, tiny little stamp. Okay, in my Misty Moonlight. And I'm just going to do that right there. Okay. Probably hard for you guys to see on camera because it is so little. Then I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and I'm just going to cut that ever so slightly. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to use scissors because that is so little I can't even see it in my paper trimmer. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm just going to cut straight down that little piece. Just cut that out just like so. Okay, there's our little tiny sentiment. Hopefully my old eyes will be able to see it. I mean, I can, as long as I don't lose it and shift it off of here, we should be good. Okay, I'm gonna take a mini dimensional and I'm just gonna cut it in half because my sentiment is so little. Place that there. Oops, I went too far. That needs to go there and there. Take the backs off of that. And that is going to sit right like so. Just like that. And if we want to, we can cut just a tiny bit of that end off. There we go. And let's focus back up here on these flowers. Let's cover some of those ugly dimensionals that we don't want to see underneath there. So I'm going to put that like that. We're going to put another big one right over here to cover that one. Take a tiny, put it right there. And actually, you know what? I want to go ahead and put a couple more. So let's grab another little one. We're going to put it right here. And we need one more because we can't just have 4 dimensionals. We have to have 5 because otherwise it looks funny. So there we go. Let's put an inside into this card. Now I think I want to take this designer series paper and where did I put it? Okay, let me grab a piece of that paper. Now that is this one right here. So here's a scrap of that. And I'm going to cut. That's not long enough. Of course it's not. Why would it be long enough? So I'm going to grab that piece because it's actually going the correct direction. So we're going to take a 1/2 inch of that and we're going to run that along the bottom of our card inside here. Now this is 3 3¾ by 5, I'm pretty sure is what this in. Yep, 3 3/4 by 5. I'm gonna take that, put that right in the inside there. Okay, let's cut off the extra bits here. Like so. And let's see, what do we want to stamp in the inside of this? Maybe we just want to stamp, I'm here for you. I know you will get through this and be stronger for it. Let's use that because that's kind of fitting for this sentiment. And again, I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to stamp that right in the center here. and coming back in. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are aware or not, but our cloud cover ink pad is not available to customers. So let me tell you kind of a little history on this and why it's not like this. A couple of years back, we had another one of our stamp pads do it. I don't remember the color, but I can tell you cloud cover, you're not going to be able to purchase this big Stampin' Pad, the classic Stampin' Pad. I will show you the alternative, what you can buy to be able to get this though. So with this, these have a foam pad on them. So when they filled these back when they knew cloud cover was going to be one of the in colors, they filled these up and they like take a good couple of years to use the product to make sure that it's going to stand up to Stampin' Up's like quality, I guess you would say, because they are very, very big on the quality of their products. This foam pad that we have with these new ink pads is having a chemical reaction with our cloud cover ink. So I will show you the difference on this just so you can see. I'm going to actually use a piece of basic white just so you're seeing that I'm not using any other kinds of papers. I'm using the paper that, you know, we use here at Stampin' Up. I'm going to show you the Stampin' Blend, and then I'm going to show you the alternative way of using this ink. So I'm going to grab these flowers just because I have them right here. I'm going to stamp these flowers using the ink pad that they created and tested numerous times. As you can see, that color comes out very gray. Now let me show you. I'm going to use the dark cloud cover as the Stampin' Blends is concerned. It is much bluer, kind of like a cloud blue here than what you're going to see in this. Well, you're not going to see it because they won't even sell it. What the ink pad is coming out. Now the alternative to this is to still buy the ink refill, and you can either buy the these come uninked in a package of 5, or maybe it's 6. Let me see if I can even find them. I wasn't going to show that portion of it, but now that I'm talking about it, I might as well share it with you guys. But you can buy, it's got to be close here. Unless you guys can name off exactly what page the uninked. Stamp sets, Stampin' Up. Trying to find where these would be in the catalog. That's the white one. We do sell these. Maybe they're, I'm assuming they've got to be in the catalog. But anyways, you can either go in and just look at the Stampin' Spots, go in the search engine, and get those. I think there's either 5 or 6 of them that you can purchase. They come in a pack, and you add your own ink to them. Or right here on page 33, but you might already have these. That's why I was saying to buy these uninked. Then you add your own color to them, and then you have your own little traveling ink pads. But if you do it this way, you're going to need to buy the refill ink bottle so you can fill this up. Or if you just don't want to deal with that, but you want, because this is a different kind of pad, it's more of like a woven texture. It's a little bit harder. It's not as foamy and as squishy as this pad. The ink holds true to color in this. If you don't want to deal with that and you just want to get some of your colors, you can buy the classic Stampin' Spot small assortment #1, and you will get cloud cover right there in this. So again, that's on page 33. If you're looking to get the cloud cover ink and you can't figure out why can you not order the big pad, that's why, is because the color is not staying true to what it needs to. Now, let me take this same stamped image and do it using, I inked it up with ink and show you the difference. It is subtle, but it's still very clear as day. This is very gray using the big ink pad. Otherwise, using the Spot, you get the true to color cloud cover for that. Just so you have a couple of options to still be able to stamp in cloud cover. I just want you guys to be aware of that. I'm sure you've probably watched other demonstrators. They've probably all told you the same very thing, but I just want to make sure I tell you. So I'm going to take this little image and I'm just going to stamp it there, and again over here. There we go. Beautiful. And this, and store these upside down, your little ink spots. Make sure you flip them upside down so they hold the ink towards the top of your pad. Okay, let's take this and glue this inside of our card base here. Okay, there's the inside. I know you'll get through this and be stronger for it. And then we've got I'm here for you. So isn't that a beautiful, like, sympathy card or a get well card? You know, it's just, I think it's very elegant looking, and it's a little bit more on the simpler side, I would say. You're not going crazy on it, but it's just gorgeous. So there is card #2. So let's put both of those over here aside. Okay, so now card #3. I love this card base layout. This is something that I've been playing with. I just learned this card, this fun fold. This is called a, let me see the name of it. This is called a pop-up pillar. And I'm sure a lot of you are not new to this, but I'm going to share it because I think it's gorgeous. All right, so what we need here is we need a 5.5 by 8 1/4. Now again, my base is 8 1/2, so I need to cut off 1/4 of an inch off of this to make it be 8 1/4. Okay, we are going to now take our cutting blade and get it out of the way. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way here so I can actually line this up so you guys can see it without having everything be in the way. We need to score this 4 times. So we're gonna, our first score is going to be at 1/2 inch. Okay, so with our score blade, 1/2 inch. The next one is going to be at 2. The next one's going to be at 2 1/2. And then at 4. Okay, so we've got 4 scores. Again, we have 1/2, we have 2, 2 1/2, and 4. Okay, what we're going to do with this is we're going to flip this in where our bumps are all facing inwards, and we're going to fold all these to the inside of the card. Okay, so you see your score lines are going to be on your, they're going to now be on your left-hand side, and the card bigger inside base is going to be on the right. So we're going to take this and we're going to fold at that 4-inch line. Make sure we use our tool, our bone folder. And we're going to fold this one in as well. And then just keep folding all of these in. Whoops. And then that little 1/2-inch one we need to fold as well. Okay, so they're all folding in. Okay, what we need to do is we need to, this little 1/2-inch piece is going to get scored on the right hand side of our 4-inch score. So when we fold this, we can take it and lay it flat, and then that is touching that 4-inch score line right there. Our little 1/2-inch is touching that. Then it lays flat, and then you know everything is getting adhered correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and add my glue. Now you can use Terran tape, but green glue is a pretty good adhesive, and this is not going to be holding anything to have to take the brunt of being fiddled with. Okay, lay that down, let that adhere. I didn't grab an inside to this card, so I think I'm going to need to grab my white, and I just had a piece of white sitting here, I swear. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say, I've got stuff everywhere. Okay, so then when we fold that up, it makes this really cool little 1/2-inch pillar on this card. Then if it lays flat, if you want to put it in an envelope, it will still lay flat if you fold it in on itself. But this is how that's going to pop up like a little pillar, just like so. Could not be any more easier. If you've seen this card and you're like, oh my Lord, there's no way I would be able to make that. Ha, think again, because you can. It is super simple. 4 score lines, that's it. Okay, so now what we're going to do with this is we need to have 2 pieces of our designer series paper. Now these pieces here are wait, hold on a second. Let me look here. These are 1 1/4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to take these and I'm going to put these on both of my outside panel and my inside panel. Just like so. Okay, that is going to go right there on that panel. Okay, there is our pillar. Now, we need a piece of the same color cardstock. This is 2 3/4 by 4. We're going to lay our inside piece flat, and we will then adhere that. Once we get this all prettied up, we're going to lay that there. So let's figure out what paper I'm going to use. Now I brought in, this is the blue, but I've got 2 different pinks here, and I'm not sure, petal pink, which one I liked better on here. I think I'm gonna go with this one. Or actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm gonna go with white. That's my original thought, was the white. I think I like the white better. So let me grab my little piece of white here. because I think what we need to do is we need to do some stamping on this. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to take this white and we need to trim this down. So the piece that needs to go on here, we are going to do our 2.5 by 3 3/4. Two and a half by 3 3/4. That will fit on there. And then our inside piece needs to be 3.5 by 5 1/4. And then we can use these two pieces for stamping. Now, let's do, our inside piece is going to get bumped up, or not bumped up, but placed right in there, like so. But we're going to do some stamping and stuff on that, or actually put a piece of designer series paper inside of that. This little piece, this is going to be our front, so we need to decide what we're going to do with that. I had a, oops, look at there, that's sliding off of there. We're going to lose that. I'm going to use, I already have my stamps out here. So since I have this in Misty Moonlight, I'm going to grab my Misty Moonlight. And I'm going to clean this because I'm not sure what color I had on that last time. And I'm going to use a little scrap over here. And I'm going to stamp that in Misty Moonlight. Like so. We are then going to cut that out. Okay, like that. But you know what? I think what I want to do is I'm going to take my small little water painter here, and I know we don't sell water painters anymore, but I'm going to take this and I'm just going to kind of lightly apply some water to that. I kind of like it when it kind of gets that, it's like that color is kind of bled a little bit. You could also take our Wink of Stella and you could do the same thing, but that's going to add a little bit of sparkle and shine. Like that. We're going to cut this out. We're going to give that a second to dry and let that cut out. I want to, I think, take my floral image and let me grab another one of these. I think on this scrap here, I am going to, I know our paper cuts that out in pink, the petal pink that we need, but I don't want really this, I don't think I want the Lost Lagoon on there. I mean, it could work, but I'm not feeling it. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to use a, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it in gold. So I'm going to grab a gold scrap and we're going to cut that out of there. I'm not going to do the flower like I thought I was going to. I am going to use this piece here, and let's cut this out of the gold foil. And where's my take your pick tool? Did you guys see that my husband is giving away a take your pick tool over on his cocktails and cards? You guys can watch that over. I do have it here on YouTube. If you go to my videos, you'll see that he has this last Friday, which was the 9th. He has a video. He made a beautiful Mother's Day card over there. And he's running a giveaway right now. He's going to be doing a take your pick tool because he loves this tool so much that he was like, hey, I want to give one of those away to one of my viewers. So there's your take your pick tool. So you guys can go over there and watch that video and see how to get entered into that giveaway. Fun, fun, fun. All right, so we have our piece right there. Let me turn around and cut this out. This reminds me of some china that my mom and my grandma both have. It's the blue and the white. Okay. So there is that. So we're going to adhere this on this piece. I think I might want to pop that up. We're going to kind of do that same thing that I did, but we're going to do it with the gold. I think I'm going to go kind of like that. Yep. Now, let me see here a minute, because if I would have used this in place, actually, you know what? I think I like that. So we're going to change things up here a little bit. We can do that. So what did I say the size of this is? This is 2.5 by 3 3/4. So 2.5 by 3 3/4. I'm gonna actually put that on that white. I kind of do like that. I thought maybe it would be too much, but now that I see that blue on there, I think it actually kind of looks good. So I'm gonna cover that white piece up. Could have saved myself the white piece, but hey, we can always change things. That kind of makes that pop a little bit better. Okay, so we're gonna pop that up with dimensionals. I knew I threw some of my dimensionals on the floor over here, but I think we've got enough for this to work. Okay, we're gonna place this here. And place this. Let's grab some of the minis. Did I throw those on the floor too? Jeez Louise, I'm on a roll. Nope, they're there, they're hiding. But what I want to do with this is I want to take this and cut it in half. Because I do not know how well one of these would look on the gold. We'll check though when we get this going. So I'm gonna place this right here in this little area. And then the other piece that's stuck on my scissors, I'm gonna place right there. I've got little tiny bits hanging on here. Okay, that I'm gonna take and I'm gonna do it like so. There we go. So that kind of looks like it's hanging out on there. This piece is going to go right like that on there. So what I need to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down this pillar here. Folding that down, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to center this piece on here. Just like so. So when it's opened, it may look a little funny when it's opened, but you'll see as soon as I get this done, when that's open, it sits in a perfect position. Maybe, if I didn't get it crooked. There we go, that's better. Like so. Isn't that pretty? Oh, love it. We could then take that same paper and do it on the inside, but I think, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with the white. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the white. What do you guys think? Do you like it better with a piece of the same designer series paper on the inside? Or do you like the white? What do you think? I'm gonna let you guys decide. I almost think that the white might be a little bit too crisp, but then again, we have this white piece. My husband's name is Andre. Yeah, it's a video that him and I do together. It's called Cocktails and Cards. It's here on my, since he's not a demonstrator, we do the video together. I'm teaching him how to stamp and craft. He loves making cards for his employees because before he was always asking me, hey, can you make a card for, somebody at work, da 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 da. And I was like, no, you go make it. And then he's like, but I don't know how. And I was like, well, hey, guess what? You have a wife that makes cards. So I told him I go, and he goes, well, then I guess you better teach me. And I said, well, then we'll do a series and you can learn live in front of everybody. And he's a big goofball anyways and likes to be on camera. So it looks like the majority of you guys have said that it is the designer series paper that looks better. And looking at it, I agree, because that white was awfully stark. Yeah, that is gorgeous. Oh, love it. So we are going to go ahead and put this in here. Now, it is a good idea to put your designer series or whatever you decide to put in the inside of your card, if you make one of these, to do that before you put your front panel on. But hey, you know what? We can make this work. There we go. Now we could take our little, let's grab our little white piece here, and we're going to grab, there it is. I've got these dies strung out everywhere here. I'm gonna take this and die cut another one of these little banners because we're gonna put that in the inside. So let me cut that. Okay, I think I'm gonna put that right in the inside there, so when that's closed, you don't see that, but then when it's standing, they can see that it's still a pretty little piece in there. Here's my sentiments. You know what else I was thinking? I wonder if we stamped a flower in the inside bottom. We stamped that in blue. I'm gonna leave that alone for right now so I don't mess anything up. Let's put a sentiment on this. And let's see if these would look good on, I don't think I'm gonna like that. I think that's gonna be overkill. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that, I don't think. I think we do have, let's see what we have in our basket of, look, there's some, I know those are Night of Navy, but those actually might look good on there. Let me take, I see that I need to put another little piece of dimensional over here, because this piece is really popped up and I don't like that. It's kind of too free floating for my likings. Okay, so I'm gonna actually bring in, these are called the Regal Foiled. I do not think these are still available, but they do have this beautiful blue in here, and I just want to add some of these little blue gems on here. So I'm going to put one right there. There we go. Ooh, that's pretty. Love that blue on there. Okay, what was it? Oh, we need to put a sentiment on this. So I think our sentiment, this one, what does this one say? There's beauty in your history. Let's do that one. We haven't used that one yet. And I think that might, ooh, look, that's gonna work perfect on there. Hot dog. I'm gonna do Misty Moonlight again. So as you guys can see, there wasn't too many colors that I used as far as ink goes. We more or less did our heat embossed and our, yeah, because both of these cards, see, that used the Misty Moonlight in the back and Misty Moonlight here. Oh, we did use Old Olive. That's right. But for the most part, we did keep it pretty blue-centric with the Misty Moonlight. So let's take this little piece and let's add this to the center here. I love this little torn label. Okay, and then when that's closed, see, it's hidden. So there is our beautiful pop-up pillar card. Isn't that so fun? You can just stand on somebody's desk and just brighten their day. Oh, love it. Okay, so let's bring in all three of these cards that I created tonight. This is using, again, the Inspiring Imperfections Bundle, or if you just want to go big because you have to have it all, because that's kind of how my brain works. I have to have everything. I can't just, you know, have some and not at all. It is called the, I cannot say this word. I don't know why it's so hard for my brain. Kintsugi, Kintsugi. That's how you say it. I even had to have my phone pronounce it for me because I knew I was going to slaughter it. There's just some things that my brain just sees it all screwed up. I think it's part of me having dyslexia. It screws things up. My brain just doesn't want to see it as it is. All right, so there are our three fantastic cards using this new product tonight along with that gorgeous paper. Even if you guys don't like the set, the paper is well worth having just as a standalone. It is gorgeous on so many cards. Absolutely. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Please give these a try. Again, when you place an order of $35 or more in my online store, shopdannygarola.com, or if you just want to get that starter kit, you can add this to your starter kit. Again, you get to add $165 to your starter kit and only pay $99. You're gonna get free shipping in there. You're gonna get a paper pumpkin in there. You're also gonna get catalogs to share with your family and friends. You can add the new in color stamp pads in there or your Stampin' Blends in there. Have fun. Try to get as close to $165 as possible. If you can't go over $165, that is a very, very good question that I get all the time. You have to stay under the $165. And how do you join my fabulous team of stampers? You simply go to shopdannygarola.com. Instead of going to the shop tab, you're going to go to the join tab. I believe it's like the 4th or 5th tab over. You're going to click on that. That's where you're going to read about all the things that you're going to get in your starter kit. It's going to allow you to go ahead and pick your $165 worth of product, your choice. Don't forget, we have all the new line of products that is in our online exclusives. You can also put any of those clearance rack, which we call our last chance products. You can put those in your starter kit. We don't judge. We don't choose what you want in your kit. You choose. That's why this is perfect for any of you who have a big wish list or just want to get started with stamping. It's a fabulous deal. There's no hidden agenda behind it. You don't have to ever buy another thing, but just know that your orders going forward from your starter kit, you will be getting a substantial discount. So that's fabulous as well. Plus, you're going to become a part of a fabulous team that we share so much inspiration with everybody. Okay, you guys, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for all of you coming in here and joining me. Don't forget, this kit lasts through, your orders can be placed through the 18th of May in order to get this kit in the mail. All right, you guys, have a fabulous rest of your week. Be safe out there. Stay cool if you have the heats like we do in your area. And I will see you guys on next Monday, which will be the 19th. Don't forget to join Pink Barn Stampers group over on Facebook if you're not already a part of that group. I will be putting out the supply list for our mystery stamping happening over there on the 21st, which is next Wednesday, the following Wednesday. All right, you guys, take care. Have a great night. Love you all. Bye-bye.